We're used to talking about Quest updates at this point, and usually in chronological order, when a strange move happened and it seems like Quest update v70 kind of got skipped. At least for those of us in the public test channel, that's a channel where you can monitor updates for the Quest early, try out features ahead of time. We were on v69 and talking about v69, and suddenly now we're on v71. Besides a few very random and possibly fake seeming videos floating around Reddit about v70, it's being speculated on channels like Tyrails that v71 was a forced update that they're trying to get ready ahead of the 3S launch that's coming next week, and that's why it's already out for those people who get their Quest 3Ss on Tuesday. This coming on the news that we've been reporting to you for the last few updates of how these updates kept rolling out and claiming they had all these features and they were bringing all these things, and people across the board, even when they got the updates, weren't getting those features. They were rolling out feature by feature. And with that, now it's been over a month on the Meta release notes since we saw that v69's release notes dropped and nothing about 70 yet. It seems like there was a time where these updates were a little more reliable and predictable, and now they're just kind of all over the place. But with that, we can talk about some of the things that have been seen on the public test channel, what might be coming in v71, or features that people are already trying out that have rolled out on headsets, whether or not they are in the public test channel. Keep in mind, if you are someone who wants to join that public test channel and get these early, v71 has been reportedly having some glitches, some even game-breaking glitches, or other things where the headset's forcing even Quest Pros up to higher frame rates by default, which is messing up the reliability of the chipset on the Quest Pro, and people are needing to go back in and force it back down. But so far, if you've been in your headset, you probably noticed there's new avatars now. You can customize your avatars in more ways, and you can even take a selfie with the actual Meta Horizon app, formerly the Meta Quest app, which we all liked better, and that selfie will make an avatar for you. Although so far it's been a little unreliable on whether it actually looks like you or not. But some other quick features now: if you have windows around you in your house, if you're in an immersive environment, those no longer will just shove through surfaces. It'll actually snap to the ceiling or the floor. So if you want to lay back and watch a show up above you, that is an option. For now, this does seem to be working more reliably in immersive environments, but for mixed reality environments, once we have them perfectly mapped, this could be really cool to set up a TV or something on the wall that would stay there when you want to watch an app. But also that spatial audio we were talking about is working with these windows now. So if you do put a TV up above you, or you put it on the wall and you turn away, it switches to which ear you're actually hearing it coming from, making the whole entire environment a lot more immersive. And you're now up to 7 windows you can have set up all around you. We reported a while back they added the feature to open up a window while even in an immersive VR game, whether you want to watch a YouTube video, a tutorial, or just have something to do while you're waiting on someone to take their turn. But now with 7 windows, people are reporting different varying levels of reliability with too many windows open at once. But it's cool if you want to just leave a window set somewhere hooked to a wall or hooked to the ceiling, it can stay there. Or if you want to take that TV on the road, travel mode is now updated. They're saying this is for planes, trains, automobiles if you're not the one driving, clearly. And they even changed the icon to make it more like it's traveling rather than plane mode. And in your home, you might have noticed a new portal that's really reminiscent kind of the earlier VR chat home where there's different portals around you could walk through. Well, Horizon now is making it look like that with a portal directly into Horizon that you can go in. And if you're a big fan of The Office, the show, there is a world in Horizon. I actually got to test this out a little early when I was at Connect and see what it was like. The show The Office?
Yeah. So it's like a 1-to-1 replica.
No way. It is a recreation of The Office. They said it was 1-to-1. I mean, it's pretty close from someone who's watched a lot of The Office and even built the little Lego Office set. And there's different little mini games that tie in from the show that you can go in and check out. Some other little features rolling in there too, a voice battery alert. So now if you want your headset to say, hey, your headset's dying, audibly, you can turn that on. And screenshots can actually have different ratios. For the longest time, screenshots were just that weird square. Now you can put them in portrait or landscape. So some little quality of life changes to what people are calling the spatial computing ability of the headset. Nothing monumental or groundbreaking. Also, what the heck happened with v70? But once the official meta notes come out, the release notes come out, we'll do another video breaking them down a little bit further for all of you instead of just shooting through them quickly like this, because we don't always know what these are going to actually come out in the final once it releases from the public test channel. Or who knows, maybe this will actually be called update v70 and roll out to everybody instead of saying it's 71. Of course, one of the first questions after Meta's big Orion reveal, that's their new next-gen AR glasses, not available to the public yet, but they were demoing them to a select few people at Meta Connect. People want to know, are they going to be able to play games from the Quest on them? And one of Andrew Bosworth, aka Boz, Meta CTO's AMAs on Instagram, he says, it's not impossible, but it would not be easy to get them on there. He mentions how obviously they don't have controllers for the Orion, but also that the hand tracking is much more open on Quest. You can reach around a lot more. And in Orion, you you have a much smaller hand tracking volume. It's more in front of you. The compute envelope is 10 times smaller. It doesn't have access to the virtualized scene graph construct. It just says basically there's a lot of differences there. He says titles like Cubism would be a good one, which I've actually even tried playing on an airplane before in mixed reality. But the biggest reveal in all this was that the Orion has 10 times less computing power than a Quest 3. Not surprising for its size and the wireless compute puck it's using, but it still shows how if you want something to fully immerse you, it's got to be much bigger, much more powerful, and the Orion will be for a different audience. We know how much all of you out there like giveaways, so there was one I wanted to spotlight this week. We were actually just down in Atlanta checking out the DreamHack there. They had enough sponsors that they were giving away 3 MetaQuest 3 VR headsets, not 3S's, actual 3s, and they decided to extend this one more week. So that means anyone that enters to win, unfortunately, you do have to be a US resident and at least 18, but that means you can enter to win one of 3 headsets, and right now the entries are under 500 people. So that means they're really good chances, especially in comparison to like our giveaways where we don't have the capacity to give away so many. If you're in our community here and you want to join, I wouldn't be surprised if we could get enough people from here to go join the giveaway and actually get most of these headsets won by our community members. So there's going to be links down in the comments and description if you want to enter their giveaway. We also started some new giveaways. We're giving away a 3S, more Bobo accessories, and then anytime game developers give us codes, I'm trying to just add those to the link tree. So if you open up the link tree and you see it, there's a new game one there, make sure and enter too, as we kind of just add those as we get them. But we keep an eye out for other giveaways for you to say thank you, and we also do our own to say thank you so much for supporting our channel. With all this going on, we are just days away from the Quest 3S launch. If you haven't been keeping up with the channel lately or the industry somehow, the Quest 3S is a brand new MetaQuest headset, although somebody nicknamed it the Quest 2.5 in the comments, and it really does feel like that. This is Quest 3 internal chipset, the hardware that's inside, but then with basically the lenses and screens from the Quest 2. So you're not getting a huge bump in resolution, and you're not getting those pancake lenses that look so beautiful, the brighter screens that come with those. You're getting an experience that feels a lot more like a Quest 2 when it's on your face, but with the better chipset, so that no longer will you be missing out on games that come that are Quest 3 exclusive. It's got the full mixed reality color pass-through that the Quest 3 has, and if these things are following the same trend as previous years, these may already be in the home of reviewers like we saw last year, who were able to test them out a while before the actual launch, but then only able to post their reviews close to launch. So hopefully that's happening right now with reviewers out there, and hopefully we'll be getting some real reviews on the 3S right before. If you're interested in pre-ordering it right now, it is a good price, and as what I've said so far from my personal testing of it at Connect was if you had a Quest 2 and you really want to play the new Quest 3 games, the 3S is a decent way to do that at $300. Although really the 3, now that you get the 512 for $500, is still something to reach for. I would personally say if you can reach for that, grab it. If you don't have a VR headset, if you've never had one though, the 3S is a great place to start at $300. It's a low price. You won't know what you're missing if you don't have a Quest 3 already. And if you're someone who has a Quest 3, the only reason I could see getting a 3S would be if you want to play co-op, have friends over for VR, and you don't want to spend another $500 on doing it. So there will be some links if you want to pre-order, but hopefully we'll have reviews coming out in the next few days as well. From the people who did get to try the Meta Orion at Meta Connect, we are getting a lot of early talks coming out, deep dives into it, and a lot more details about the headset. So we'd known for a while that Boz had kept leaking there was going to be a next generation AR headset available to try at Connect, and then finally they walked out on stage with it, suitcase handcuff style, and they revealed the Meta Orion. Now these are not going to be available for mass production, but they are planning to build around 1,000 units for internal testing at a purported cost of $10,000 for each prototype, which is a wild price. But this is a set of AR glasses, chunky as far as everyday sunglasses would go, but much more reasonable than any other AR headset we've seen when you look at things like the Magic Leap or Microsoft's HoloLens. The Orion weighs just 98 grams, which Meta was saying they believe headsets like this really need to weigh under 100 grams. For reference, a Quest is around 500 grams. That's a fifth of the price as a set of glasses on your face. Micro LED projectors, which are not only tiny but super bright, so that you should be able to use these glasses anywhere, because a lot of AR glasses you go anywhere near outside and you can't see them at all. A 70-degree diagonal field of view, which is definitely much smaller than what we're used to in VR, but for AR glasses can be compelling enough depending on how much of the actual lens that takes up. And although these screens are supposed to be super bright, they do have to travel some complex optical paths to get to your eyes. So by the time it reaches your eyes, you're supposed to be seeing about 300 to 400 nits. But they did point out that even though those screens are super bright, with all of this light loss, that would mean taking these outside, you probably actually wouldn't be able to see them like we were hoping. 13 pixels per degree, which is smaller than even the Quest 2's 20 ppd, but they did have another Orion prototype that was 26 ppd, even higher than the Quest 3's, but at a loss of even more of the brightness. In some real close-ups, you could actually see some of the wires inside lenses, but they're so thin and so small, it's hard to see them from the reporters that got to try when you're actually inside the headset. There's a lot more details in Tested's actual video if you want to go watch. That's nearly an hour. One cool thing while I was at Connect, I actually got to meet Norm from Tested, tested, someone I've watched for years. But it's exciting to see a future view of what these AR glasses are really looking like, and the fact that maybe they're not as far out as we think if these prototypes are hitting this point. Obviously, we got a long ways to go for that price to come down to a reasonable price for the consumer, though. If you're someone who likes to find some of the biggest games on the VR platforms before they get too big, there's a game coming from the studio that made the Pixel Rip series. It's kind of like a cat PvP Rocket League, which if you hear all those keywords together, you would guess that this could possibly be the next big thing for VR, especially with the success of games like Gorilla Tag. So Clawball is going to be released for free in early access on October 17th. If you follow any sort of VR social media, you've probably seen Anna Ribeiro, who is the creative force behind the Pixel Rip series. I've actually gotten to meet her several times at conventions. She's usually wearing the Dot costume from Pixel Ripped as she's walking around, and I got to try on the helmet, and that thing is so heavy. But basically, this multiplayer game is going to have you as a cat with a lot of emphasis on the customization, headgear, headset, shirts, new cosmetic items all the time, but with a social lobby where people can play together, seasonal content, and basically by the end of next week, if you want to check this out, you'll be able to get in for early access. With the recent reports on the huge success that I Am Cat has been, the obvious success of Gorilla Tag in the industry, though, this would be a title I'd watch for if you're interested in that. And with all that, we've been gone with a lot of travel because a lot has been going on in the VR industry. We're still trying to be here for you every day, daily posts, keeping you up to date with news, games to play, reviews on the things that you like to buy out there. But once again, it's because of all of you showing up for years now that so much has happened for us. The channel's growing really fast right now. A lot's happening. So thank you once again. We just got back from Atlanta, which was a big success. We got to show VR off to a bunch of people there. Got to play some fun games. One of the big titles we were showing off is Spatial Ops, and that actually just got its launch date coming out next month, November 14th. If you haven't seen what that game is, basically you can turn any home, big or small, into an arena where people are running around, mixed reality style, shooting at each other, capture the flag. And it's just a really cool example if you want to show people like what a headset can do. You put them in a headset and they play Beat Saber. Oh, it's cool, it's fun, they're moving around, they're playing. But you put them in something like this where they're running around the space, it's transforming it, you're trying to take each other down. It's a whole nother level. It really convinced a lot of people that they want a headset now. So especially with the 3S being cheaper and being able to play something like this in full mixed reality, it's a cool game if you haven't checked it out. But I believe you can still get into their beta free. So I'll leave links down below, everything we've talked about in this video so far. But thank you once again, and I'll see you in another reality.